Welcome to the deep dive. And look, this isn't your typical post-race analysis. This is the sound of an empire collapsing. For years, we talked about the three pillars of Red Bull, unshakable, the manager, the designer, and the architect. But now, we're watching them get ripped out, one by one. First, Christian Horner, the manager, shown the door. Then Adrian Newey, the genius designer he followed. And now, the true architect of it all, the man behind the talent, Helmut Marko, is out. The foundation is gone. This isn't just team news. This is a seismic shockwave for Formula One. Today, we are going deep into the exit of the 82-year-old Helmut Marko. We've got the sources, and we're going to cut right through the corporate PR spin to get to the truth. We need to understand the power struggle and what this means for their number one asset, Max Verstappen.
And we have to start, as always, with the necessary disclaimer. This segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events. And what's so incredible when you put the sources next to the public statements is the contrast. It's just night and day. You're watching the old guard, built on instinct, clash with this new corporate machine that demands control.
Okay, so let's just lay out the facts. The raw facts versus the spin. Marko had a contract through 2026, but the official line, he's leaving at the end of 2025. That timeline alone should raise a red flag for you. Our sources are crystal clear on this. There were intense, high-stakes meetings in Abu Dhabi on Monday, right after the season ended.
And this is where the PR machine goes into overdrive. The official announcement is that Marko demitted, what a word, he resigned. And the reason they gave was it was pure theater. He said, losing the world championship this season moved me deeply. And that made it the right time to end his amazing 20-year journey. A beautiful story, right?
Wrong. Yeah. Completely wrong. We know better, and you should too. This whole deeply moved narrative just conveniently ignores one huge fact. Oliver Mintzlaff, the corporate director, and the new management team, they decided to continue without him. The organization showed him the door, period.
Exactly. The original Spanish source material used the phrase apartó a Marko, and that is so much stronger than a simple retirement. It means they pushed him aside, they forced him out. So this wasn't some mutual heartfelt decision. This was a management call that resulted in let's say, a heavily negotiated resignation. Mintzlaff made the call. And with that, the founding duo of Marko and Horner, the guys who built it all, gone.
So let's get to the why.
Yeah.
Because it all comes down to control. Mintzlaff asserting total control. Dietrich Mateschitz, he ran this team like a passion project. He valued pure speed, big personalities, gut instinct. That is all gone now.
Absolutely. Mintzlaff has a clear mandate coming from the Thai ownership side to standardize everything, control the costs, and, crucially, eliminate any and all unpredictability. He's been at the circuits more and more, getting involved in the day-to-day, and Marko, by his very nature, was a wild card. The source material called him a verso suelto, a loose cannon. He just didn't fit the low-profile, buttoned-up culture they're trying to force on the team now.
It was a culture clash waiting to happen. An explosion, really. The Mateschitz way was high risk, high reward. It was Marko seeing a 16-year-old kid and just throw him into the fastest car on the grid. The Mintzlaff era is about boardrooms and managing risk, which brings us to the detonators, the two specific incidents that gave corporate the ammunition they needed to force him out.
And what's so fascinating is that these incidents, they weren't about the car or race strategy, not at all. They were about PR control and financial authority. They were perfect examples of the old way undermining the new.
Okay, let's start with the Antonelli accusation in Qatar. Marko, being Marko, completely unfiltered, just openly accuses Kimi Antonelli, the Mercedes Jr., of letting Lando Norris pass him. I mean, a public accusation of race fixing against a rival's driver.
The fallout was immense, a genuine firestorm, and Marko was, of course, forced to apologize later. For the new corporate guard, this is a nightmare. It's messy, it needs damage control, it puts the brand at risk. It's everything Mintzlaff's low-profile mandate is there to prevent. It showed he wasn't controllable.
But the second one, the Alex Dunn fiasco, that was the final straw. That was a direct breach of authority. This incident is the clearest sign of the new corporate team just taking over the one area Marko saw as his kingdom, the young driver program.
That's it, exactly. Marko used, it must have been the last bit of his old power, to sign Alex Dunn as a development driver. He did it unilaterally. But the corporate team, the ones who actually control the money, they stepped in immediately. Red Bull had to pay Gunn off to indemnify him, and the contract was torn up just hours after it was signed.
It wasn't just a miscommunication. It was a hostile veto. Think about it. Marko signs a driver. Corporate overrules him and pays the guy to go away.
Yeah.
That is a public power play. It's showing the old guard that their authority is gone. You just cannot have that kind of chaos.
And we should have seen it coming. I mean, Laurent Mekies, the team principal, he basically warned us. After Abu Dhabi, he said F1 is not a static environment and that the organization always adjusts. He was telling us right there that the system was changing, and clearly that meant cutting out the parts that didn't fit.
Okay, before we get to the massive legacy Marko leaves behind and the whole Max Verstappen question, a quick word for our viewers. If you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to DRS Zone. Don't forget to subscribe for more F1 content. Now, let's talk about the size of the hole that this leaves. They didn't just fire some manager, they forced out a legend of the sport.
You really have to understand his backstory to get his management style. He was this incredibly charismatic, completely fearless F1 driver himself. His career was cut short in '72, a terrible accident in France where he lost an eye, and that raw, unfiltered intensity, it defined how he ran that driver program for 2 decades.
And the numbers, I mean, the stats are just mind-blowing. In his 20 years, 132 victories, 6 drivers' titles, 8 constructors' titles. But his real legacy, the true legacy, is the pipeline. He brought 20 drivers to Formula One, 20. At times, a fifth of the entire grid owed their career to this one man's eye for talent.
And it was all built on the Marko method. It was brutal. Sink or
Marko.
swim. He didn't just want speed. He wanted mental toughness under insane pressure. He made champions. Vettel, Ricciardo, Sainz. But he was just as quick to drop anyone who couldn't handle it, famously promoting Max by dropping Daniel Fiat mid-season. He was ruthless, yes, but my God, he was effective.
Which brings us straight to the Max factor. Because Max Verstappen's loyalty was never to Red Bull, the brand, or to Horner. It was to Helmut Marko. The sources confirm this over and over. The Verstappen family always backed Marko in the past.
And now the man who found him, who protected him, is gone. Minslav knows this is a huge vulnerability. The source says Max was told immediately. And the corporate line is that this will not influence his future. They are scrambling to project an image of stability.
But how can you project stability when the very person Max trusted is gone? He's tied to Red Bull until 2028, which, on paper looks like an ironclad deal.
But it's not. Here's the detail that hangs over this whole team. The sword of Damocles, as the sources call it. Max is free to leave at the end of 2026. Free to walk. If the car is not competitive, that is the ultimate vulnerability. The 3 men who built the machine, Horner, NEWEY, Marko, are gone. If this new corporate structure fails to deliver a winning car for the new 26 regulations, Max is out the door.
And Max's public farewell just says it all. He wrote, "Thank you, Helmut. We have achieved everything we dreamed of together. I will be eternally grateful for your trust in me." That's not a corporate statement. That is a message from a driver to his mentor.
Yeah.
To his friend. That personal bond was the glue. And the new management just shattered it.
So the ultimate takeaway for you, watching this unfold, is that this is the absolute end of the Dietrich Mateschitz era. The team that dominated this sport was built on passion, on instinct, on loyalty, even on a tolerance for chaos. That entire culture is now being replaced by a committee that values compliance over everything else.
And that leaves us with the one final provocative question that will define the next era of Formula One. Red Bull's winning culture was built by huge personalities. Horner's ambition, NEWEY's genius, Marko's ruthless get instinct, they're all out, replaced by a corporate structure. Can a team run by committee, by consensus, actually sustain a championship-winning formula? Or will this massive void left by these personalities lead to exactly the kind of chaos and instability that allows Max to trigger that exit clause in 2026? We are going to find out. Thanks for joining us for this explosive deep dive. Don't miss a single moment of the fallout. Follow the DRS Zone on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for all the latest updates. We'll see you at the next corner.